Hi, gorgeous girls. Do you feel that you brush off praise when you're doing well? Or perhaps you feel concerned when everything is going well? You brush off compliments because you might fail again. Or maybe you feel you have to work really, really hard to stick at your diet. Otherwise, you're going to end up at square one again. Well, how's that feeling with Christmas coming along? That pressure is even greater. If you feel like your routine is slipping because of Christmas, or maybe because of a party, an anniversary, or any special event, do you get nervous? Your routine is going to challenge your diet. All your good intentions are going to crash down. Well, that is exactly how Alison felt. She carefully and tearfully explained to me that any lapse, any drop in concentration meant that all her willpower would come crashing down. The massive effort it was taking to stay on track was really tested when it came to celebratory times like Christmas. She would either completely let go or just hang around in the background and try to stay good. What a burden. What a pressure to live under, don't you think? Lapse, relapse, and then collapse. That's the cycle. Alison was in that cycle. She lapsed. So then she relapsed. I've done it once, I'll do it again. And then came the collapse. She gave up. Start again on Monday. Start again in January. When she went off track with her diet, she knew eventually everything would fall apart. Now, this cycle hurts emotionally. Emotionally, it is draining. It is exhausting, putting yourself under that constant pressure. But there is also a bigger danger. What that type of pressure is doing to your body, and in particular to your hormones. You could be overextending your hormones, crashing them out of the system. They just can't cope anymore. And your long-term ability to lose weight becomes more difficult. You know that. She would then get angry with herself because she'd lapsed, and then she relapsed, and then she collapsed. She would then get angry with herself, beat herself up for failing again. She felt like she had let herself down. She felt like she had let her family down. What a burden. What a huge burden to shoulder. And you can hear, as I'm saying to you, it's not worth it. And it shouldn't be that way. She also uncovered, as we talked, that actually spending time on herself felt like she was being selfish. Now, I understand that. I'm sure most women do. There are so many other things to do. You've got your aging parents, dropping the kids off at their activities, sporty, healthy ones they may be, but there's still a lot to do. Supporting a local charity, your local school, trying to run a business or a job, and trying to squeeze in the odd haircut is just, that's the last bit, isn't it? That is the last straw. I understand. And Alison explained it nearly drove her to breaking point. Prioritizing time for herself was hard enough. But with the added pressure of sticking to diet rules, life becomes overwhelming. Any spare headspace that Alison had was spent on her business, on her kids, or her husband. She had enough on her plate to worry about herself. She just didn't have the time. And I get that. But as we talked deeper and as we analysed more where this lack of time for herself actually came from, we got closer to where that message of self-denial comes from. And it comes from our families. We know that. We discussed her childhood and reflected on her upbringing that had been quite stern. Her mum had been critical. Her mum had paid for her to attend Weight Watchers at 16. Now, whilst Alison felt confused about this. She didn't feel that she was old or mature enough to speak out about it. Well, who would? You're not really sure. You don't fully understand. She knew that she was uncomfortable, and she knew that these uncomfortable thoughts were taking up headspace, but she didn't really know how to process them. She's too young. She felt anguish. She felt concerned. She didn't know how to release them, or whether these were even thoughts that she should be having, valid thoughts. We play that game with ourselves all the time. Now, out of respect for her family, Alison swallowed up those thoughts. Swallowed up. That made us both stop and think. This is not a blame game, but we noticed the words and we realised that swallowing the pain quite literally meant finding solace in food. Now, this isn't a blame game, it is a freedom game. Once you notice, once you are aware of how you speak, you can change it. You don't have to go back and berate everyone in your life. What good is that going to do? You can just notice how you speak to yourself. When you've got something to rebel against, something that's obvious, then it's easy to do. But when something comes up that hits a raw nerve, or maybe it quietly enforces a belief that we have in ourselves, then it's really hard to see it for what it is. It takes a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of a chat, and exploring family life and realizing that these thoughts are actually quite liberating. You can categorize them. You can say, these aren't my thoughts, these are my mum's thoughts, or these were my grandfather's thoughts, or whoever's thoughts they were. They're not my thoughts. It's liberating. Awareness. That's all you need. Awareness of your automatic responses. It releases you from them. It frees you. You can unclutter your mind and find the time to be calmer and move on. Look, it doesn't have to be deep psychological trauma, okay? It can be as simple as observing your automatic responses. You have them. I have them. Everyone has them. It's the most powerful part of your brain, the automatic response that you have. You know what I mean. You can drive to work one day. You can be 3/4 of the way there and think, oh, I'm going to work. You're halfway through or 3/4 of the way through your journey. You're on automatic pilot. You get in from work. You put the dinner on. You're on automatic pilot. Automatic reactions go on in your head unnoticed all the time. Comfort comes from a Friday night takeout. That's our automatic thinking. I will relax when I go on holiday, okay? Or when I retire. Please don't wait that long. What if someone came along and drew your attention to your pre-existing habits? What if someone called you out, asked you, why did you do that? Gave you time to think about the real reason you reach for the entire packet of biscuits? Move away, please move away from this cycle of diet and bust over the new year. Take the time, gorgeous girls, to show yourself some real care and some real love. Delay, distract, and then decide. When you reach for the biscuit, take a moment. Why am I eating this? What am I getting from this? What emotion has come up for me? Just go off and do something else. Go and do a job that's been bugging you for ages. And then come back. And if you still want the biscuit, fine, be with it. Now, as Alison's coach, what we talked about was putting maybe a hairband on her wrist and flicking it whenever she just wanted to take time to analyze why she was doing something, just to notice what she's thinking instead of going into it automatically. Easy peasy. Now, we also worked on long-term strategies to reduce stress. And when you reduce stress, you can think more clearly about what you're doing every day. Does that sound good? I hope so. I thoroughly enjoy working with Gorgeous Girls. It is enlightening. You teach me so much. Now, if you want to talk to me about your resistance, about your stress, and perhaps your resistance to weight loss, please feel free to apply for a discovery session with me. I would love to chat and find out more about you and find out if I can help you. That's what the discussion is about. You will have the pathway, the route to work things out, to know where you're going. Hope that sounds good. Speak to you soon. Bye.